Hello and welcome to Learn Yourself. Today we are going to study about atoms and molecules. This chapter is under CBSE Standard 9 syllabus. We are starting our chapter with two basic laws. That laws are of chemical combination. First of all, Anthony Lavoisier was a scientist who gave a law of conservation of mass and he laid a foundation of chemistry. So, according to Anthony Lavoisier's law, it says that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. This means if there is an equation like NaOH plus HCl, so it will give us NaCl plus H and OH, so it will be H2O. If you will see here in this chemical equation, then the atoms of right hand sides are exactly equal to the atoms towards left hand side. That means if one Na is at reactant side, then only one Na is there at product side. If there are two hydrogen at reactant side, then we will get two hydrogen at product side. So that means mass can neither be created or any atom can not be created throughout the chemical equation. We cannot create any matter, we cannot create any mass, or we cannot destroy. Destroy means if there is one and two hydrogens are here, then it cannot be one. You cannot destroy any matter, you cannot destroy any mass. So mass can neither be created nor destroyed in chemical reaction. It's only transfer from one form to another form. So that is a chemical reaction. Now second law is law of constant proportion. Now proportion means in any molecular formula, suppose NaCl, there is one Na and one Cl. So this is a proportion. If you will take H2O, then the proportion of hydrogen and oxygen is 2:1. Hydrogen and oxygen is in the ratio of 2:1. So this is the proportion of any compound. If you will say that in the compound of water molecule there are two hydrogen and one oxygen. So this is a fixed composition and fixed proportion of water molecule. This will not change. Anywhere on the earth, if you are synthesizing water or it is naturally available, the molecular formula of water will be H2O. So Joseph Proust has given this law, that constant proportion. He said that in a chemical substance, the elements are always in definite proportion by mass. Any chemical substance, all the elements are always in definite mass and definite proportion. So if we are talking about sodium chloride, whenever I will say sodium chloride or you will read sodium chloride, that means it is a composition of one sodium atom and one chlorine atom. So this means the molecular formula, the composition, the chemical substance has fixed proportion. So these two laws have given us a clear idea about a chemical substance, composition of the matter and a chemical reaction. So these laws are important to understand the basics of chemistry. Now we are studying Dalton's atomic theory. This theory was a turning point in case of study of matter because this theory has proved the law of conservation of mass and law of definite proportion. These two laws which have been given by Joseph Proust and Anthony Lavoisier. So this theory gave explanation for these two laws are completely correct for chemical reaction and a proportionate mass. Now Dalton's theory of matter is important as you will get questions in the exam that explain a Dalton's theory of matter, then you have to write the all 5 points, and if any of the point, if they will ask you to explain, then you have to give example and you have to explain it. So there are total 5 points in Dalton's theory. One by one we will see it and we will discuss it with its suitable example. First, all matter is made of very tiny particles called atoms. So all the matter are made up of atoms which participate in chemical reaction. With reaction you can explain that NaOH plus HCl will give us NaCl plus H2O. Here you can explain that in this chemical reaction what is taking part is atoms. These atoms are taking part in chemical reaction. That means this sodium atom is going to react with this chlorine atom and these two atoms will form a molecule. So like this, in the biggest chemical reaction at the smaller level, the atoms are reacting and atoms are taking part in the chemical reaction. Molecules are not taking part in the chemical reaction. Atoms are reacting with each other. Second point, atoms are indivisible particles which cannot be created or destroyed. As we have discussed earlier in Lavoisier's law, that we cannot destroy the mass, we cannot create the mass. What all mass we have it, what all matter we have it, we will get it in another form. Only the form is transferring, only we are transferring the form of the matter. We are not creating any matter. And particles are indivisible. You cannot break the particles, which in turn is wrong in current scenario, because Dalton had given this theory in 17th century. So after that there are so many new discoveries and new inventions have happened which prove that atoms are divisible. We can break atom. So this point in a current scenario is a wrong, but at that time Dalton has given this idea that particles are indivisible. Third point, atoms of a given element are identical in a mass and chemical properties. That means any element, if you are taking a sodium, that anywhere on the earth sodium is having a same chemical properties and it is identical. Any atom's mass, chemical properties and its physical properties will remain same. Fourth point, atoms combine in a ratio of small whole numbers to form compound. Now the meaning of small whole numbers means, so in this NaCl, sodium and chlorine are combined with each other in 1:1 ratio. So these numbers are whole number and it is small whole number. So they are combining with each other in small whole number ratio. The relative number and kinds of atoms are constant in a compound. That means a relative number and kinds of atom. That means what all kinds of atoms are combined in a compound are constant. They will remain constant if we are talking about the compound. Earlier we spoke about an element. That element will remain same. The same thing we are discussing here for the molecule. That NaCl is there, then a compound ratio, a kind of atoms will remain constant throughout the earth. Wherever you are taking a sample of sodium chloride, you will get a definite mass, a definite number of atoms and definite proportion for sodium chloride. So if you will see, all the points are discussing and explaining the composition of matter and molecular formula of matter, how atoms are reacting in a chemical equation. Everything is depending upon the atom and they are in a fixed proportion in any of the compounds. What is an atom? It is the smallest particle of matter. Any matter you take, what will be the smallest particle of that matter? It will be an atom. So what does this atom consist of? It has a 3 subatomic particle. We call it subatomic particles. Within the atom there are 3 particles. That's why we are called it subatomic particles. First is proton, second is neutron, and third one is electron. So here this is a structure of atom. This is a nucleus. This inside portion is nucleus and surrounded by the orbitals. There are n number of orbitals. There are n number of orbitals around nucleus. So in the nucleus, this is a nucleus, and in the nucleus what will be there? In the nucleus there are 2 subatomic particles will be there, proton and neutron. Whereas the electron, it will be rotating around the nucleus. So that's why we are making these circles. Circles are known as orbits or orbital. So this, through this orbits, the electron will rotating around the nucleus. Now P stands for proton, N stands for neutron, E stands for electron. If we will look as the perspective of charge, so proton consists of positive charge. Proton is a positively charged particle. Positively charged particle. Whereas neutron is chargeless. It is without charge. Whereas electrons are negatively charged particle. So proton and neutron we can see in nucleus. They are also combinedly called nucleons. So proton and neutron are present in the nucleus, whereas electrons, they are rotating around the nucleus in the orbits. So these are the subatomic particles. In the nucleus, proton and neutron are there, whereas the electrons are rotating around the nucleus. Why it will rotate? Because inside positively charged protons are there, so they are attracted towards each other. Positive, negative. So that's why, because of the force of attraction, the electrons will rotate around the nucleus. Other than these 3 subatomic particles, there are 2 more terms associated with an atom. What are they? First one is atomic number, second one is atomic mass. So Z we are denoting as atomic number. And what is atomic number? The number of proton count in the atom is equal to atomic number. Also, the number of electron are same as number of proton. Always in any of the atom, if there are 4 proton, then number of electrons are also 4. It has to be equal because our atom is neutral. When it will neutral? When positive and negative charge will be equal. So always number of proton will be equal to number of electrons. But what is our atomic number? Z. So what is Z? So number of proton equals to our atomic number. For example, hydrogen. Hydrogen's atomic number is 1. What is atomic number for hydrogen? 1. So how many protons will be there in hydrogen? 1. Then helium. What is atomic number of helium? 2. So how many protons will be there in helium? 2. Like that. So now what is atomic mass? Atomic mass is an addition of number of proton and number of neutron. When number of proton will add to number of neutron, or the summation of proton and neutron will gives you the atomic mass, and we denote it with A. So A equals to P plus N. What is P? Number of proton, and N is neutron. So there are 5 terms, that subatomic particle, 3 subatomic particle, and 2 other term, one is atomic number and other one is atomic mass. Atomic number represents the number of proton in the atom, whereas the atomic mass represents the number of the summation of count of proton plus neutron. Atoms and molecular mass. Earlier we have discussed that what are the atoms, what are the laws for chemical combination and law of conservation of mass, and we have discussed Dalton's atomic theory. After the discovery of atoms, there are n number of atoms, and now the next important thing for the scientist is to give them a name, to give them a symbol by which we can represent them in a chemical reaction. So first of all, we will see that how small are the atoms. Atoms are the basic unit of any matter, and they are the only particles which are taking place in chemical reaction. Now atomic radius we are measuring in nanometer. Now what is a nanometer? 1 nanometer equals to 1 divided by 10 raised to 9 meter. That means 10 raised to minus 9 meter equals to 1 nanometer. Now atom of hydrogen's radius is 10 raised to minus 10 meter. H2O molecules radius is, here we are talking about molecules. So molecules radius is 10 raised to minus 9 meter. And hemoglobin's one molecule's radius is 10 raised to minus 8 meter. So this will give you a brief idea that how small atoms are. When Dalton had given an atomic theory, after that he had given some symbols for all those atoms which already had been discovered. So for hydrogen he had given or he proposed this symbol. Then for carbon, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, lead, platinum, iron, silver and mercury. These are very few elements and these are very few atoms which had been discovered at that time. So he proposed these symbols for this known elements. Nowadays IUPAC, that is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry Union, is giving a name of an atom. Scientists will discover an atom, they will propose a name to this union, and this union will accept the name. Earlier scientists were proposing, and now this union is accepting and confirming the name of any particular atom. Now when we are giving a name to any atom, then it is depending upon which scientist has discovered it, it is discovered in which country, and it is discovered in which area. For example, lead. Lead is LEAD, but its symbol is Pb. Why? Because from Latin name plumber, the symbol has been discovered. So iron is ferrum. So the symbol is Fe. So it is depending upon the scientist, the area or the continent or the region where it has been discovered. So all these things are come in focus when we are giving a symbol to an atom or when we are keeping a name of an atom. So each name and each symbol and each short form of an element is unique. So we have to remember whenever we are writing a symbol of a particular element. So now I am displaying you some of the important elements which you have to remember their spelling, a name of an element and their symbols. Molecules are basically of two types. One kind of molecule which are formed from same element. Other type of molecules which are known as compounds. They are made up of different elements. First we will discuss the molecules which are made up of same elements. When a same element's atom are coming together forming a chemical bond and they are making a molecule, that is known as only molecule. For example, oxygen. When we are talking about oxygen molecule, then it is O2. So this means two oxygen are combined together with a covalent bond and they have made a one molecule that is known as oxygen. Now some of the atoms, they are not stable when they are only atom. So they are combined with another atom of same element, of its own element, and they are forming a molecule. For example, hydrogen, that is H2. So this is hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen is combining with another hydrogen and it is forming H2 molecule. Now when we are talking about molecule which are formed from the same element, then we have to discuss atomicity. Now what is the atomicity? The number of atom constituting a molecule is known as its atomicity. That means if oxygen molecule is there, then there are two atoms of oxygen in oxygen molecule. So oxygen's atomicity is 2. Oxygen's atomicity is 2 because in oxygen molecule there are two atoms of oxygen. Now if we are talking about ozone, then ozone molecule is O3. In this there are 3 oxygen atoms are combined in one molecule. So ozone's atomicity is 3. So it is depending upon that molecule is made up of how many atoms of that same element. So that will be the atomicity of that molecule. If we are talking about hydrogen, then hydrogen's atomicity is 2. Oxygen's atomicity is 2. Whereas sulfur's atomicity is 8 and phosphorus atomicity is 4. When phosphorus molecule will form, then there are 4 atoms of phosphorus will combine with each other. And similarly with sulfur. When sulfur molecule will form, there are 8 atoms of sulfur will attach with each other. So in this case, atomicity of sulfur is 8 and atomicity of phosphorus is 4. Now we are talking about compounds. What is the meaning of compound? That different elements are coming together and forming a molecule, that is compound. So this is a molecule of sodium chloride. In this there are 2 atoms are combined, sodium and chloride. So sodium and chlorine both are combined at the atomic form and they are making one molecule. So this molecule is made up of different elements. Here the molecule is made up of same element. So here we call this as a molecule, where here this we called as compound. So atoms of different elements join together in definite proportion. It is very important that when any compound will form, the compound will form in definite proportion. Here NaCl is combined in 1:1 proportion. In H2O, it is combining in 2:1 proportion. So this is known as definite proportion to form molecules of compound. So compounds are made up of different elements, whereas the molecules are forming from a same kind of elements. And in this molecule we are checking its atomicity also, that how many atoms are combined in one particular molecule. After discussing molecule, now we are discussing ion. So what are the ions? Compound composed of metal and non-metal contains charged species. So this charged species are known as ion. For example, potassium. If this consists of plus, then this is known as potassium ion. Now ions are of 2 types, and ions are generally made up of metal element and non-metal element because they are involved in donating and accepting electrons. Those elements which will donate and accept electrons, they will form positive ion and negative ion. So ions are basically of 2 types. Positively charged ion are known as cation, whereas negatively charged ion are known as anion. So there are two types of ion, cation and anion. All the metal elements will form cation. All the non-metal elements will form anion. Now ions are single charged atom, or sometimes they are group of atom which is carrying a charge. So they are known as polyatomic ion. Here for example, if potassium is there, it is made up of one atom. So this is positive ion cation. Whereas here if you will see, there are two atoms. So this is known as polyatomic ion. This is anion, this is polyatomic ion. So ions are of two types, single atom ion or polyatomic ion. And now they are carrying two types of charge, either positive or negative. All the metals will form cation and all the non-metal will form anion. Now we will see the charge of positive ion and negative ion. This charge you have to remember, and you have to remember the name of this particular ions. Then only it will be helpful for you when you are making a molecular formula for any particular compound. So here what we have to remember is, suppose this is a cation, then this is a potassium ion. It is easy. But when we are coming to anion, so this is sulfite, sulfate and sulfide. So when you are making a compound out of this, then you have to remember that its combining capacity or its charge is -2 and the name is sulfite. So this you have to remember. Let us start from here. This is potassium ion, sodium ion. Now for ion there are two types of charge. So Fe with +2 is known as ferrous. When Fe +3 is known as ferric. So when it is Fe +2, it is known as ferrous, and when it is Fe +3, it is known as ferric, and it is also known as Fe2, and this is known as Fe3. When we will discuss about the compound, we will discuss this more. Now magnesium. So magnesium's charge is +2, calcium is +2, whereas aluminium is +3, and hydrogen is plus. This is hydrogen ion. Now copper is exist in two different charge, two separate charge, that is Cu +2 and Cu +3. So when we are writing compound, we are writing copper 2 and copper 3. That means the charge of this copper is +2 and charge of this copper is +3. Now this is oxygen ion and its charge is -2. So it is known as oxide. Now when it is SO3, then it is sulfite, ITE. When it is SO4 2, it is known as sulfate. When it is S minus 2, only S is there, then it is sulfide, IDE. So this is a basic difference between these three polyatomic ions. Now NO3 is nitrate and its charge is minus 1. Now N-3 is nitride, IDE, nitride. Now for carbonate, it is CO3 -2, and when H is combined with it, its charge will be 1 less. So HCO3 minus. So this is carbonate, and this is known as hydrogen carbonate. So these are some of the important ions and polyatomic ions and their charge, which we have to remember so that it will be easy for us to write molecular formula. Now let us learn about molecular formula, that how can we write a molecular formula with the help of element's valency. For this we have to remember element's symbol, element's name. If they are polyatomic ion, then name of that polyatomic ion and their respective valencies. So here first of all we'll learn that how to write molecular formula from the given ion or atoms. So we have to follow this simple rules. For that, first we should know their valencies. Then second, via crisscross method we can write it. Now what is the meaning of crisscross method? For example, H and Cl. These two atoms have been given to us. Then so hydrogen's valency is 1 and Cl's valency is 1. So it is -1 and it is +1. So here we are crisscrossing it. Crisscrossing means this one we will add it over here and this one we will add it over here. So as a result we are writing H1 because this one is coming over here and Cl. So this one will come over here. Now another rule is when the valency is 1, we are not mentioning that because when we are writing Cl, that means one Cl is there. There is no need to mention 1. After that, if there is a same valency, if both of them having a same valency 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 1, then also we are not mentioning it. Now with the help of this knowledge, we are writing that our molecular formula of hydrochloric acid is HCl. Now coming back to this example and we will solve this, so these rules will get clear for you. Na and Cl, their valency is Na +1 and Cl -1. So when we are crisscrossing this, so this one and this one will go like this. Now when we are crossing them, here we are not mentioning the charge. So it will be NaCl because if it is 1 then we are not mentioning it. So we are our compound is NaCl. The name of the compound is sodium chloride. Now Mg and Cl. Now Mg is +2 and Cl is -1. So we are crisscrossing this. How we will do this? So Mg is 2 and Cl is 1. So 2 will go with Cl and 1 will go with Mg. So we are writing like this MgCl2. Here 1 we are not mentioning but 2 we are mentioning because 2 we have to mention. So molecular formula is MgCl2 and the name is magnesium chloride. Cl minus, so that is anion and its name is chloride. So magnesium chloride. Now next is Ag and Cl. So silver's valency is +3 whereas chlorine valency is -1. So silver and chloride. So how we are going to write it? Ag, Cl, 3 and 1. 3 will go with Cl whereas 1 will go with silver. So our molecular formula is AgCl3 and the name is silver chloride. Now calcium and this is CO3. It is known as carbonate. So calcium is +2 whereas carbonate is -2. So here 2 and CO3 is also 2. So we are crisscrossing this. Now when the same valency is there, we are not mentioning it. So our compound is CaCO3. Here we are not mentioning 2 and 2 because the valency is same. So our compound's name is calcium and this polyatomic ion's name is carbonate. So calcium carbonate. So this is how we are writing molecular formula and we are giving a name of a compound. For this you have to remember the name of ion and polyatomic ion and very importantly you have to remember the valency and the charge of those ions. Valency. So basically what is a valency? Valency is a number when any element will donate an electron or accept an electron, that number we will write as its valency. So before this, you should have a knowledge about what are the elements from element 1 to element 20, what are the noble gases, why element has a tendency to become stable like a noble gas, and the knowledge about how to write electronic configuration. This concepts you should know. If you don't know this, don't worry, please check out my earlier videos based on this topic. So I am assuming that you have a knowledge about noble gases, electronic configuration, and why any atom wants to be stable like noble gas. Then we are moving towards how to write valency. So here lithium's atomic number is 3, electronic configuration will be 2 and 1. How? We have 4 orbitals K, L, M and N. What are the maximum capacity? 2, 8, 18 and 32. But more than 8 electrons we cannot keep in any of the orbit. So 2 and 8. Now when we are going to write about valency, we should always check that what is the nearest noble gas. In 8th standard, there are 3 noble gas in your syllabus. First is helium. The atomic number is 2. Second is neon. Atomic number is 10. And the last one is argon. The atomic number is 18. So here you have to check that lithium is near to which of the noble gas? Helium or neon or argon? Obviously it is near to helium. So lithium wants to be stable like helium. Lithium wants to achieve an electronic configuration like helium. So it should have a 2 electron. So what lithium will do? That it will donate 1 electron. It will donate 1 electron because it wants to be stable like helium. When any element will donate 1 electron, it will gain positive charge. How many number of electrons they will donate? That many number of positive charge they will get. So here what will be the valency? Because it is donating 1 electron, the valency is 1. And it is donating, electron is moving away. So that's why the charge will be plus. If in case any element is accepting 1 electron, then charge will be minus. When it is a donation, charge will be plus. When any acceptor of electron will be there, then charge will be minus. These are the basic concept you need to know when you are writing valency. Now second example. Atomic number is 7 and the element is nitrogen. So how we are going to write electronic configuration? First will be 2 and then it will be 5. 2, 5. If you will see here, the valence electron is 5. What are the valence electrons? Valence electrons are the electrons present in the valence orbital. What is valence orbital? The last orbital which accommodate electron is known as valence orbital. So which one is the valence orbital for nitrogen? The last one. So how many valence electrons are there? 5 valence electrons are there. So now these 5 electrons are there and 2 and 5. So 7. So nitrogen is near to which noble gas? Helium? No. Argon? No, very far. So it is near to neon. If nitrogen wants to be like neon, it wants to have 10 electrons in its electronic configuration, then how many are lacking here? 8. It should be 8 if it wants to be neon. What is neon's electronic configuration? It is 2, 8. What is argon's electronic configuration? 2, 8, 8. So here we want to make it 8 because neon is nearest one to nitrogen. So it will accept how many electrons? It will accept 3 electrons. Why? Because it wants to be stable like neon. So here how many electrons it has accepted? 3. So valency will be 3 and it has accepted. So it will be minus. The charge will be minus. Here neon. Let us see that what will be the valency of neon. Electronic configuration will be 2, 8. So if you will see here, there are no possibility to add any electron. This valence shell is completely filled. Neon's last shell is completely filled. So it is stable. It does not want to accept any electron, or it does not want to donate any electrons. Why they are doing so? Because they want to be stable. If any element is not stable, then they want to be stable. How they will be stable? Like acquiring electronic configuration just like noble gases, because noble gases are stable. So here it is already stable. So neon's valency will be 0. Why it is 0? Because it does not have any tendency to accept the electron or to donate electron. Why is it so? Because it is already stable. So here again one more example. Sodium. Atomic number is 11. What will be the electronic configuration? 2, 8, 1. Why we did not keep here 9? Because more than 8 we cannot accommodate electrons in any of the orbits. So here 1. Now if you will see, the atomic number is 11. It is near to which noble gas? Neon or helium or argon? Yes, it is near to neon. So this one electron, what is neon's electronic configuration? 2, 8. If it wants to be like neon, then it has to donate this 1 electron. How many electrons it will donate? 1. And it will donate or accept? Donate. When it is donating, the charge will be plus. Now aluminium. What will be the electronic configuration of aluminium? 2, 8, 3. What is atomic number? 13. So 2, 8 and 3. Valence shell has how many electrons? 3 electrons. So which one will be the nearest noble gas? The neon is the nearest noble gas. If it wants to be like neon, then something here it has to do with 3 electrons. So what it will do? It will donate 3 electron and acquire a stable electronic configuration like neon. 3 electrons will be donated, and since it is donated, the charge will be plus. Now the last element, chlorine. Its atomic number is 17. What will be the electronic configuration? 2, 8 and 7. If we will see which will be the nearest noble gas, it is 17. So argon is the nearest noble gas. And what is argon's electronic configuration? 2, 8, 8. If we want to make it 2, 8, 8, then chlorine has to accept 1 electron and to be like argon. So when it is accepting, the charge will be minus. And how many electrons it is accepting? 1. So the valency of chlorine is minus 1. Again, valency is completely depending upon how many electrons the valence shell is donating or accepting. And whenever it is donating, that many positive charge will be generated. Whenever it is accepting, that many negative charge will be generated for the valency. Now we are discussing about molecular mass, and we will find that how to calculate molecular mass. So first of all, what is molecular mass? Earlier we have discussed the molecular mass and relative molecular mass. So here, what is the molecular mass? So molecular mass of a substance is the sum of the atomic masses of all the atoms in molecule of the substance, and that's why it is known as relative molecular mass. When we are talking about H2O, So in this there are two atoms of hydrogen are there, and there is one atom of oxygen. So here we are going to count two atoms hydrogen's molecular mass, and we are adding that molecular mass to one atom of oxygen's molecular mass. So total how many atoms are there in this molecular formula? Combiningly 3. So all the 3 atoms molecular mass we are adding and we are calculating molecular mass. From atomic mass we will derive molecular mass. So that's why it is known as relative molecular mass. And since it is known as relative molecular mass, it is expressed in atomic mass unit, that is U. So when we are writing our answer, the unit what we will write is U. That means atomic mass unit. All the molecular mass we are deriving from their atomic mass unit. Now, when you are calculating this kind of sum in exam, then they will give you the atomic mass of all the atoms present in that particular molecular formula. So here the mass of hydrogen is 1 unit will be given to you. Then similar way for the oxygen it is 16 U. This will be given to you in exam. So here we have to count that if there are 2 atoms of hydrogen are present in this molecular formula, then we are multiplying that 2 with 1. 1 is the atomic mass of hydrogen. So that 1 is there, and 2 because there are 2 atoms present in this molecular formula. So 2 into 1 plus. Now we are adding oxygen's atomic mass. Now how many atoms of oxygen are there? Only 1. So 1 into 16. So the combiningly the relative molecular mass is 2 plus 16 equals to 18 atomic mass unit. So this 18U is molecular mass for water. Similarly, in the exam you will be given a name of a particular compound. For example, magnesium chloride. Then you have to write molecular formula and then you have to calculate the relative molecular mass for that particular compound. So for this you should be knowing the molecular formula of that compound, a perfect valency, so that you can derive molecular formula, and then how to calculate the molecular formula. Now let us practice more how to calculate the molecular mass of particular compound. So let us see how to calculate molecular mass for this two compound. So here calculate relative molecular mass or molecular mass for the following compounds. So atomic mass units for potassium, chloride and calcium have been given to us. Now potassium chloride, so first we have to write the molecular formula for potassium chloride. So potassium is K and chloride is Cl. So this will be the molecular formula of potassium chloride. Now how many atoms of potassium is there? 1. So into K. So this will be atomic mass of potassium. Adding to that, how many atoms of Cl? 1. Into atomic mass, so here will be Cl and here atomic mass of Cl. So here we are writing 1 into 39 and then plus 1 into chloride atomic mass. So it is 35.5. So now we are adding this 39 plus 35.5. So the answer is 74.5 and the unit we are writing is U. So the molecular mass, relative molecular mass for potassium chloride is 74.5 U. Now calcium chloride. So the molecular formula will be calcium and chloride Cl, but the Cl's charge is +2 while NC is +2. So here the 2 will come. So that will be CaCl2. Now 1 into Ca plus, here 2 are there. So 2 into Cl. This means there are 2 atoms of Cl in calcium chloride. So 1 into Ca is 40. Adding to that 2 into Cl is 35.5. So here 40 plus 35.5 into 2 will be 71. Now when we are adding 40 and 71, it will be 1 and 11. So 111 will be our atomic mass unit for calcium chloride. So this is how we are calculating molecular mass unit for any particular compound. Mole concept is very important in terms of going forward. We are going to solve some of the numerical based on it, and in standard 10, 11 and 12 there are many more numericals which will be based on this concept. So let us understand this. What is a mole concept? Here one reaction is there. In this, 2 molecules of hydrogen is reacting with 1 molecule of oxygen, and it will give us 2 molecules of water. So when we are talking about any chemical equation, we are talking about atoms and molecules. But when we are performing a reaction, then we have to take any particular substance as per its mass. So then we are talking about a mass and atomic weight. So chemical equation refers to number of atoms and molecule. When we are writing equation like this, we are calculating number of atoms and number of molecules. But when we are experimenting or when we are doing the reaction, performing a reaction, then quantity of substance we refer is by the weight of substance. So to resolve this issue and to resolve this difficulty, the Wilhelm Oswald has introduced a concept of mole. In 1896, he introduced a concept of mole. So through the mole, we can combine a number of atoms and its mass. So what is a mole? When we are talking about a mole, a 1 mole consists of 6.02214,076 10 raised to 23 any specified entities. That means that many number of that entities is present in 1 mole. So when this number was so big, we have made it a small and we are referring it till 6.022 10 raised to 23. Now when we are talking about 1 mole of substance, any substance, that means it has this much 6.022 10 raised to 23 atoms present into this. 1 mole is also a mass. 1 mole refers to mass. So in that 6.022 10 raised to 23 atoms are present, and if we are talking about molecule, then in 1 mole of substance 6.022 10 raised to 23 molecules are present. Now 1 mole of substance equals to its atomic mass of any particular substance. So this is how we can connect mole, atomic mass and number of atoms or number of molecules. So when we are talking about 1 mole of substance, that means it has this many atoms or this many molecules, number of atoms, number of molecule, and its mass is according to its atomic mass. Now let us see this and understand this with one example. To understand this concept, let us take one example of water molecule. So here we will first find out the molecular weight of this substance. So how we will find out the molecular weight? that 2 atoms of hydrogen is there and 1 atom of oxygen is there. So here we will write atomic weight of this particular substance. So 2 into 1 plus 1 into 16. This is atomic weight of oxygen. So here 2 plus 16 equals to 18. U is molecular weight of water. Now, when I am saying I have taken 1 mole of water, that means in this 1 mole of water, how many molecules of water will present? This many. 6.022 10 raised to 23 molecules of water will be present to this. Now, what will be the weight of 1 mole of water? This much. That is 18 atomic weight or 18 gram is equals to 1 mole of water. The weight of 1 mole of water is 18 gram. Here I have referred to atomic mass. When we are talking about atoms, if I have taken 1 mole of hydrogen atoms, then the atomic mass of hydrogen will be the same equals to 1 mole of atoms of hydrogen. We can also refer this with molecular mass, or we can also say molar mass. Now, in numericals generally the question will be like, in 115 gram of water, how many moles of water will be there? That means 115 gram of water, that means this is a given mass of water. This and this weight is different. The given mass will be different and the atomic mass and molecular mass will be different. Always in any numerical we have to find out the atomic mass and molecular mass. And given mass means whatever mass we have taken for that substance. So here 1 mole of water refers to this many molecules of water, because we have taken here a compound. So we are talking about molecules. If I have taken here only hydrogen or only atom, then I would have written here the atoms of hydrogen or atoms of water. And the weight of 1 mole of substance is equals to its molecular mass or atomic mass. Let us revise our mole concept. What is our mole concept? Then 1 mole of substance equals to 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 atoms will be present into that, or molecules will be present into that. This many molecules will be present into that compound. So this is molecules. This we are talking about number of atoms and number of molecules. Now, when we are talking about 1 mole of substance mass, its weight, then it is according to its atomic weight. 1 mole of substance equals to its atomic weight. So here our question is, calculate the number of moles from the following. So we have to calculate the number of moles from the given detail. So first is 52 gram of He. He is helium, and they have given us not atomic weight, they have given us a mass of substance. These two things are different. The mass of substance can vary. Atomic weight will not vary, it will remain fixed. This is we will weigh and we will take. This atomic weight is fixed. Atomic weight will fixed for any particular atom. And mole means a particular number of atoms we have taken in a particular substance. So this is mole, this is atomic weight, and this is a mass of substance. These three things are completely different. So here they have taken a 52 gram of helium. So which weight they have given us? This weight they have given. They have given us 52 gram of helium. So mass of helium is 52 gram. So 52 gram of helium we have. Now we have one formula from which we can find out the number of moles from given mass. So formula is N equals to small m divided by capital M. Now here mole equals to given mass divided by molar mass. Molar mass is atomic weight. Atomic mass is also known as molar mass. So given mass is, so here how we will find out? N equals to given mass. Given mass is 52 gram. 52 gram of substance. Now for molar mass we know that helium's atomic mass is 4. So here we are writing 4. So from this we will get 13. So how many moles are there? Here also gram will be there and we will get 13 moles. So how many moles of helium we have? 13 moles of helium. Here these two mass are different. This is given mass, given weight, and this is atomic weight. So the formula is mole equals to the given mass divided by molecular mass. Now second question. In this they have given us a number of helium atoms and we have to find out the moles of helium. So these are the number of atoms. Now we can also write like this, that in 1 mole substance, how many number of atoms are present? This many. 6.022 10 raised to 23 atoms will be present in substance. Then we have this many number of atoms, that is 12.044 10 raised to 23. Then how many moles of helium will be present in this? So 12.044 10 raised to 23 divided by 6.022 and 10 raised to 23. So this will give us, so here 2 more. So this is our answer. So based on this criteria we can solve the numericals like this. Example 3.4, in which it says calculate the mass of the following. So we have to calculate mass. Now there are two types of mass as we discussed earlier, atomic mass or molecular mass or weight, and the given mass. Given mass means the weight of the substance. So that's what we have to calculate here. So we have to calculate the mass of the substance. Now they have given us 0.5 mole of N2 gas. Here we have to find out mass from mole of a molecule. So we have to find out the mass and we have the details of mole and we can find out the atomic weight or molecular weight. Here molecule has been given to us. So N2, the molecular weight of N2 is 28 gram. How? Because 14 is atomic weight of nitrogen, 14 into 2. Because in this molecule there are 2 atoms of nitrogen. 1 atomic weight into 2. So it is equal to 28 gram. So this is molar mass or molecular weight of nitrogen. Now what is the formula to find out mole? So this is N is a mole, equals to given mass divided by molar mass or molecular weight or atomic weight. So here given mass is, that's what we have to find out. So we have to frame a formula with respect to this. So it will be given mass equals to N into molar mass. Now here we will strike out this given because we have to find out the mass. So mass equals to N into molar mass. N is 0.5 into molar mass. That means molecular weight. So it is 28. So 5 into 28 divided by 10. So we will get here 14 and here we will get 5. So 5, 5 and the answer is 14. So what is 14? 14 is mass. So it is gram. So 0.5 moles nitrogen gas weight is 14 gram. In our second subnumerical, we are going to find out mass from 0.5 mole of nitrogen atoms. Earlier it was nitrogen molecule. Now it is nitrogen atom. So formula will remain same. N equals to given mass, which we are going to find out, divided by molar mass. So here we know N, that is 0.5. Mass we have to find out. Molar mass we know. Nitrogen's atomic weight is 14. So it is 14. So here mass equals to 0.5 into 14. So answer will be 5 into 14 divided by 10. So it will be 7 and 5. 5, 5. We can cut it off and the answer is 7 gram. So 0.5 mole of nitrogen atoms weight is 7 gram. Only thing we have to remember this formula, and we should know how can we reframe it according to the given details. Our third question is 3.011 into 10 raised to 23 number of nitrogen atoms. Now from this detail we have to find out the mass of the substance. Now what is the formula for mass of the substance? N equals to given mass divided by molar mass. We can find out the molecular weight or atomic weight. N is mole and given mass we have to find. So these two details we don't have. So either of this we have to find. Obviously we need to find out the mole and then we can find out the mass. So here to find out the mass, first we have to find out the number of moles. Here we know the number of atoms. So we can write like this, that in 1 mole of substance, how many number of atoms are there? 6.022 10 raised to 23. So we have number of atoms. We have 3.011 into 10 raised to 23 atoms. Then in this many atoms, how many moles will be there? So otherwise you can directly divide with this. So 3.011 into 10 raised to 23 divided by 6.022 to 10 raised to 23. So you will get here 1 by 2 equals to 0.5. So this is our mole. 0.5 mole we got. So from this 0.5 mole we can find out our mass. So 0.5 equals to mass, what we need to find, divided by molar mass. Now N atoms are there. Only nitrogen is there. So we need to take here 14 because it is only nitrogen and not a nitrogen molecule. So our mass is 0.5 into 14. 70 divided by 10 equals to 7 gram. So 7 gram will be the weight of this much number of nitrogen atoms. So this is how you can solve the numerical from this formula. Our next numerical is, from this many number of nitrogen molecule we have to find out the mass. It is the same as previous one. Earlier it was nitrogen atom, now we have nitrogen molecule. So whatever atomic mass we have taken earlier, now we have to take a molecular weight. So the process will remain same. Our formula is N equals to mass divided by molar mass. So first we are going to find out moles. So in 1 mole, 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 number of molecules are there. Then we have 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 number of molecules. So that's why it is 1 mole of substance. Number is same. So we have 1 mole of nitrogen molecule. So here 1 equals to mass we need to find out divided by molar mass. Now it is N2. So 14 into 2. This is atomic weight of nitrogen. So this is 28 gram. So this is molecular weight of nitrogen divided by 28. So our mass is 28 gram. This will go up here. So our mass is 28 gram. Now what is this 28 gram? For this many number of nitrogen molecule, 28 gram is the weight of this substance. This type of sum can be asked in fill in the blank, because directly you can see here that this is a number which refers to 1 mole of substance. So directly by looking at this, you can write 1 mole of substance weight is equals to its molar mass. 1 mole's substance weight is equals to its molar mass. Any substance. Here we can also take example of water. That 1 mole of water's weight is 18 gram. The molecular weight of water is 18. So 1 mole of water is equal to 18 gram. So 1 mole of substance, this you need to remember, that 1 mole of substance weight is equals to its molecular weight. In my previous videos we have discussed 2-3 numericals and we understood and we have learnt how the mole concept will work. If you have missed those videos, I have posted a link in the description. So this is a solved example from the textbook. This is example 3.5. In this we are going to calculate the number of particles. So the first is 46 gram of sodium atom. This is a detail and we have to find out the number of particles. Once we will find out, this will be called number from mass. That means we are finding out the number of atoms from the given mass. So N equals to the mass divided by molar mass. This is our standard formula, and in this we know this. Then molar mass also we know, because we know this is a sodium atom and sodium atom's atomic mass is 23. So here it is 46 divided by 23. So our answer is 2. So number of mole is 2. So it is, the number of mole is 2 here. Now we have to find out the number of particles. So from mole we can find out the number of particles. That in 1 mole of substance we have 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 numbers of atom. And here we have 2 mole. So what we need to do is we have to multiply this number with 2. So our answer is 12.044 10 raised to 23 particles are present. Number of particles are present in 46 gram of sodium. First we found out the mole, and then from mole we found out the number of particles. How can we find out the number of particles? That means the number of atoms and number of molecules present in the substance. So the thing is, we have to find out first mole, the number of mole, and then we can find out the number of atoms, molecules or particles present in the given mass of substance. In the second numerical, we have to find out the number of particles from 8 gram of O2 molecule. So this is the mass given for O2 molecule. Now M equals to mass divided by molar mass. So the mass is 8 gram and molar mass is, oxygen is 16. So it is O2. So it is 16 into 2. So it is 32. So 32. So here 4. 1 divided by 4 equals to 0.25. So here our mole is 0.25. Now we have to find out the number of particles. So in 1 mole, the number of molecules are 6.022 into 10 raised to 23. Now we have to multiply this with this number. So 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 multiplying with 0.25. So it will be approximately, when we will round it off, 1.51 into 10 raised to 23 number of molecules present in 8 gram of oxygen. So this is how we are solving when molecule will be there. Only important thing is we have to find out the molecular weight, and we need to check that what all details have been given to us and how can we find out the answer from that. In third question, the detail is 0.1 mole of carbon atom. So from this we have to find out the number of particles. This is very easy because directly the mole has been given to us. So we can, in one step we can find out this. So this kind of questions will be asked in fill in the blank and multiple choice question. So when 1 mole of substance has 6.022 into 10 raised to 23, then when we are finding out for this, simply we are multiplying with this and we will get, either you can write 0.6 or you can subtract 1 digit from here. So I will write 6.022 into 10 raised to 22. So this will be the number of particles present in 0.1 mole of carbon